In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw a new tangle that was released by Zentangle earlier this year. That tangle is Aiposaat, and it comes with a story, so I hope you'll stick around and watch and maybe even draw along. Hello, precious friends. Welcome to this video and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for watching. My name is Brenda Campbell. I'm an artist and a certified Zentangle teacher. If you've been here before, I welcome you back with much gratitude. If you are looking for a way to slow down and be present in this moment, or even if you just want a little fun, you are in the right place. And today we're going to learn a new tangle, or if you're already familiar with this one, you'll get a little bit more practice. We're also going to create a fun tile by using the Zentangle method of drawing. This is a practice, and it is a meditative art form that can be done by almost everyone. So if you can hold a pen and make a few simple marks, then please grab your supplies and join me for Aiposaat, episode 1 of my new series, Winter Tangles. Now, before we begin with the 8 steps of the Zentangle method, let's go over what we'll be using today. Now, I'm going to be drawing on white Zentangle square tiles. So these measure about 3.5 inches square, or 8.9 centimeters approximately. I have a black Sakura Micron PN pen. I have a blue Sakura Micron 01 pen. The PN pen has a wider nib, so it's going to have a fatter line than the 01, which will be a little bit finer. I have a graphite pencil with a tortillion, and I have a blue chalk pencil with a tortillion for it. And those are the supplies we'll be using today. So let's go ahead and clear our space and prepare ourselves to begin with step 1. Gratitude and appreciation. In this step, we're going to begin by slowing ourselves down with a few slow breaths in and long breaths out. So let's take a big breath in, getting tall as we inhale, and a slow breath out, relaxing down as we exhale. And again, breathing in and out. One final big breath in and out. Now just let your breath fall into a natural breathing rhythm and pay attention to it. Notice it as you breathe in and out. Just let yourself settle into this moment a little bit more with each exhale. Breathing in and out. Now take a moment to think of something that you are grateful for right now in this moment. And when you have it, I want you to hold on to that thought. And I want you to pay attention to how you feel. How does gratitude feel? Now remember this feeling, and as we draw today, If you reach a spot where just become a little flustered, perhaps you're rushing, or maybe your lines are not going where you want them to, just stop yourself. Take a big breath in and out. And remember this feeling. Then you'll be ready to get back to drawing. And that, precious friends, is all there is to step 1, gratitude and appreciation. Now, step 2, we're going to use our graphite pencil for step 2. Step 2 is corner dots, and we just put a dot in each corner of our tile. Step 3 is a border, and we create a border by connecting the dots. Step 4 is a string. And today's string is going to be just a couple of straight lines to create a wide band across the center of our tile. That's all there is to our string, and we are done with our pencil for the moment. So now I'm going to pick up my black Micron PN, and we're going to begin the tangle Aiposaat. But before we do, let me just tell you the story. So why do I include Aiposaat in my Winter Tangle series? Although it may be an unconventional representation, when I look at this tangle, I get an icy feeling, especially if it's drawn in blue and white ink on a gray tile. So that's why it makes the list. But let's talk about where it comes from. ZenAgain is an event put on by Zentangle where CZTs from all over the world gather for what you might think of as continuing education. Of course, Zentangle is the best kind of education because it's so much fun. So ZenAgain 2025 was held in Mystic, Connecticut, USA, and this tangle was released in its honor. The story goes that everyone was playing with the word change, which was the theme of ZenAgain 2025. I can only imagine how much fun it must have been to play along. But somehow the word was changed to change, C-H-A-I-N-G-E, and so now they all began playing and creating new chain tangles. This tangle stood out because it was not a typical chain tangle, and Aiposaat was born. Oh, and the tangle's name was created by taking the first letter in each word of the ZenTangle Method's tagline, "Anything is possible, one stroke at a time." Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with step 5, our tangles, by drawing Aiposaat. Now, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know if there is a right way to say that word, but I have not heard it said by anyone else yet, so I'm just going to declare Aiposaat is how I'm going to say it. When I took my seminar, Rick and Maria talked about naming the tangles, and they suggested that as we deconstruct our own tangles and find names for them, that we try to find names that are really nonsensical names so they could be easily found if you searched for them. That doesn't always come true. Even Zentangle has some tangles that are named after ordinary things that make it harder to search for them, but nonetheless, it makes it difficult for me anyway to pronounce a lot of the tangle names because they're nonsense words. In fact, the first tangle I deconstructed, I gave it a nonsense name. I don't even say it the same way every time I say it. So I guess that's just one of those characteristics, if you will, of the Zentangle method and their tangles. Okay, so let's get back to step 5, the tangles. with Aiposaat. Now it begins with a zigzaggy line. I am going to make my zigzaggy line come from the top to the bottom and go back and forth inside of this center band. So I'm just going to go ahead and come down and then go back up. And they don't have to all be the same distance. It can be a different kind of zigzaggy line if you want. But today I'm just making mine fit in the band. Now, once you have your basic zigzag line, the next step is to take each one of these, I'll call them V's, the letter V, and draw kind of another V from the top, one top point to the other top point. So I am going to do this upside down. And I'm going to come from the top straight down, and then I'm going to, from that center point, draw a line down to each of the tips. Again, coming down and then connecting to the point. And again, coming down and connecting to the point. Kind of look like Star Trek badges if you're a Trekkie. Okay, so we've got more up at the top, so let's go ahead and do the same thing up here. Coming down. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is to create a square in the top of each one of these. And I'm going to do that by coming from, again, the center up and then drawing a line down to each point. And that gets it's kind of a square diamond depending on your perspective, I suppose. So we're going to do that with each of these. Now you notice I turn my tile as I go because that does a couple things. One, it keeps my wrist a little more relaxed. It's less stress on my wrist as I draw. But it also helps me to get a more consistent line. And that helps, I think, make my art look a little nicer. Now I could have gone off the edge, but I'm not going to do that for this tile. I'm just going to keep it like a simple Aiposaat in the center of my tile. Okay, we're not done yet. We are going to go ahead now and we are going to draw a line inside our little, I'm calling them Star Trekky badge shapes. So we're going to come from this point straight down to that point. And each one of them is going to connect with a straight line down the center. There we go. Now we are going to put an aura inside each one of our diamond or square shapes at the top. And I like to make this a relatively thin aura, and so I don't have to turn my tile quite as often. I'm going to do them in a row here. So turning it going this direction. Then I'll turn it again. Each time I am auraing this line next to the line I'm drawing. And this is our last one. We have our little aura inside each one of those shapes. And we've got two more up here. Okay. And again, we're going to draw another line from the top of our square or diamond point to the bottom. We're going to do that in each one of these sections. And then we're going to do another aura. Now this time I'm going to draw the aura farther away. So I'm going to aura this line here. And I'm going to aura that up to the center line and stop. Then I'm going to turn my tile. And now I'm going to aura this line that way. Then I'm going to fill in this shape, this little mini diamond, if you will, or square, with solid black, which gives this tangle some really nice drama. I like a lot of drama. It makes things look more interesting. So we'll go ahead and do that in all of these sections. Take your time as you fill in this area of solid black, because this is just as meditative or as zen as drawing the lines in the pattern or the tangle. So take advantage of that and just relax and focus on filling it in. Okay, now we'll do the same thing on this side. This is really an interesting tangle, I think. It gives you some really great dimension. You've got some nice drama here. And it's one of those geometric type patterns, yet it still is a vining or border tangle. So it grows as you draw it, which is kind of cool. Okay, and I am going to put my black pen down and pick up my blue pen. I just thought I'd make it a little more fun today and add another color in here. And you can use whatever you have. You don't have to use a different color if you don't want to. Or you can draw the whole thing in a different color. It's totally up to you. Remember, this is your art. Okay, so I didn't want this tangle to be all lonely, so I am going to just kind of surround it with one of my favorite beginning filler tangles, Printom, which, as you know or may know, is just a spiral. And I am going to just kind of random inch in here to begin. And then I will fill in behind them. And you can make these as large or as small as you want. You could even fill them in from the outside in if you preferred. Let's see if I can do that. I don't usually do that, but that doesn't mean I can't. See, there. It's really just a matter of what you are comfortable with. Mine tend to be about the same size, but you could vary them if you wanted to. Made a couple of bigger. You can put as many or as few in here as you like. I'm really just kind of filling up the square of my space inside my border. But you wouldn't have to do that if you don't want to. Okay, I'm going to say that's good enough for now. So I'm done with my pen. We are done with step 5, the tangles. And now we're moving on to step 6, the shading. Now I'm going to begin my shading with my blue chalk pencil today. And I'm going to begin by shading Aiposaat. Now I find the easiest way for me to know what sections of this tangle to shade is by starting with the top little square sections here with our dark center, and just pick a side. It really doesn't matter which one, and then add your chalk to that side. And then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to do the same thing up here. Now it'll be the opposite up here from what it is down there. that's okay. It's always on, for me, the right side. Okay, so now that I've got sections in my top set done, now we're going to come down to the points. And everywhere we have at the side with the blue chalk, we're going to add more blue chalk on that side from the point up. And then on this one, it's here, we're just going to do it upside down so we don't turn the tile. Then here's the next one. And here's the next one. Okay, so I'm going to put my chalk pencil down and grab my tortillion. This is one I reserve for blue chalk. And I am going to go ahead and blend that out. I do kind of like the way chalk behaves with these Zentangle tiles. It's a nice way to add color. Just pulling this chalk away from the corner. Turning my tortillion, rotating it if you will, as I blend out. Okay, that's all there is really to shading Aiposaat. But I'm going to come back in here again with my chalk, my blue chalk pencil, and I'm just going to add a few areas of blue chalk where my printom kind of cross over each other, just to give it a little bit of interest. Not a lot of areas, but okay, and then I'll just kind of quickly blend that out. You can use excess from your tortillion to go over areas that maybe you missed or just decided on the fly that you wanted some chalk in there. I like to put just a hint on the outside so it gives it a little bit of contrast, a little different than the background. Not a lot here, but just a little bit. Okay, and one last thing we're gonna do, and I'm gonna grab my graphite pencil one more time, and I am going to add a little bit of graphite on the side, and then I'm gonna put a little bit on one side of my square at the top. Okay, now grabbing my tortillion for my graphite, and I am going to blend this out. And you'll notice I did not put it on both sides, but I am going to blend on both sides. But I knew I'd have plenty of graphite left on my tortillion for that purpose. So this way I don't start out with a whole lot more than I need. This really just gives it a little bit extra contrast to separate it from the background of the printout. Even so, it seems like a lot of graphite, so I'm just kind of bringing it out a little bit more. Okay, it's not so bad. I wonder what would happen if I just put a little bit of graphite on that line. Adds a little bit of dimension. I kind of like it. Okay, I think we're done with step 6, the shading. Now we're going on to step 7, which is initial and sign. I am going to put my chop. Gosh, I guess I'll put it right over here. If you don't have a chop, just use your initials. My chop is just a stylized version of my initials, which is a B and a C. Then I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to put a date on it, but I always date mine off camera. Then I'm going to sign it. And then you can put any notes on here that you want. I'm just going to name my tangle for this one is anything is possible, one stroke at a time. Aiposaat. We flip it back over for step 8, which is simply to sit back and appreciate what you've done. Appreciate again the time that you took for yourself, and appreciate this fun little piece of art. Hopefully I was able to help you learn or get a better handle on a new tangle. But either way, that's all there is for this tile and this tangle Aiposaat. I did want to show you one more thing though, and that is that we can draw this in a border. Make it smaller for a border. That's what I'm thinking about doing here. So I'm going to go ahead. We've already done our step 1. So we're putting our corner dots in. Step 2, step 3 is our border. And step 4 is our string. And this time I am going to draw 2 bands, but they're going to be smaller. And we're going to draw 2 rows of Aiposaat. So, I have the wrong pen here. Let me grab my PN pen back out. Now we're going to put our tangle in these bands, and I'm going to begin with my zigzag line, but this time I'm not going to make it equal. I'm not going to go outside my band, my string, my pencil line, but I am varying the zigzag. That's okay. Okay, step 2, if you recall, is that V in the center of each one of our shapes. Then we're going to make our little box. These are all a little wonky, I guess I can say, because our zigzag was so different. But that is okay with me. I kind of like wonky. Okay, so I'm just kind of flying through this, and hopefully you remember the steps. I really don't like to draw them without turning my tile because the boxes start to look way funky. I don't think I need that much whimsy in this. Okay, I did it a little out of order this time, but that's okay. I'm just doing my lines. Now, down the center, connecting the tip to the point. And now, same thing in our little boxes. I mentioned before that I really do find this pattern, this tangle, to be quite an interesting tangle. Look, it's geometric and I don't know, it looks like almost as if there's a little bit of a optical illusion, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is about this tangle, but I do like it. I like this funkier version where all of the little triangle pyramid shapes kind of go off in different directions. That's kind of interesting. The other thing I think I noticed, it almost has a jewel-like look to it. Almost as if these were faceted stones, gemstones or something. What do you think they look like? So it is a little different look now that we're putting it into a border. And this is, like I said, the wonky version where the zigzag is not even. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one up here. And I'm going to actually just tweak my string a little bit. Didn't look quite even. This time, I am going to make my zigzag even and touching each line in my string border that I made. Okay, there's our zigzag. Now our V, upside down V, which creates, again, our Star Trek shape. I guess as I was practicing, I did not notice that. It was just revealed as I was making the video here. If you're not a Star Trek fan, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. That's okay. My mother liked to watch Star Trek, so as I was growing up, I got to watch a lot of it. That's okay. I like the new versions that are out now too. Okay. On this side, these little diamonds or squares on this side are a little shorter because I only went to the border line there. That's okay. No mistakes. You notice me sculpting these lines. I'm trying to make sure that they are auraing this line well. And when they don't, then I can go ahead and add on to it if I need to. Just try not to make it too big. Okay, so these are bigger, these are smaller, and they're a little funky. These are a little bit more uniform, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong way to do this, and we're just kind of playing around here. So I'm gonna go to step 6 now and shade these using my graphite pencil, and again using the same technique. So I'm gonna do one side of the top, the same side all the way across. And I'll just go ahead and do these two. Okay, now let's go ahead and blend that out with our tortillion. Okay, now let's get our pencils back out. And remember, everywhere this triangle is on the side with the graphite, that's where you put more graphite on the point. So this one, this one, this one, this one. Doesn't go there, but there are no mistakes. So now we're just going to blend this away from the point. And then with what we have left on our tip, I'm just going to go ahead and put some on that other line. Center, the one that doesn't have any shading on it. And that just adds a little bit more dimension. No big deal. And that's all we need to do for shading Aiposaat. Grab my pen again for step 7, which is initial and sign. And I am going to put my initials or my chop on the front. If you don't have a chop yet, just go ahead and put your initials on there. Then I'm going to flip it over. I always date my tiles, but I do them off camera, and then I sign them. And then you can put whatever note you want on here. And then I'll just put that this is Aiposaat in a border. So here we have the first one we drew. Now we have it a little bit smaller and drawn in a border. Sorry, got carried away there. So step 8 is now to just sit back and appreciate again. So I certainly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you drew along, and if you did, you know, I love to see what you've drawn. I don't always get out there to find them. Sometimes I find them late, but if I find them, I am going to give you some love and let you know that I saw it. So thank you again. I hope you had a good time today, and that's all for this episode. This is the first one in my new series, Winter Tangles, so stay tuned for the next episode, and hopefully I will see you there. And as always, I will leave you with this reminder: be you and be happy.